if you had a job where you come to work and people clap for you, it would change your entire mood.
What the hell going on?
Oh, we heard tale of a party.
Don't this hit make my people wanna stop? Don't this hit make my people wanna stop? Don't this hit make my people wanna stop?
Watch the series finale of X-Men next Saturday morning. Check your local listings.
It won't take long when there's a song to help you set the pace.
This is pathetic.
Where we used to live, there can be only one magical Negro.
Life could be worse.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going, daddy, daddy, daddy.
I'm bag of pixie dust, contraband.
They're gonna do the Mary Poppins thing. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
Magic mirror on the wall. The fairest one of all.
Oh, bitch, you killed Kenny.
Kenny.
You fat hoe.
I get it. I'm not persecuted. I'm just an ass.
If you haven't subscribed to Lorena yet and you're watching this, you suck.
Gotta love StreamYard. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, of course. Keeping it real when it comes to theme parks and also giving you my hot and spicy takes when it comes to pop culture and sci-fi analysis. So welcome to the Spice Lounge. This is the show where we let the hot takes and spicy conversation fly to keep you up to date with what's going on in pop culture and talk about some things that keep coming up, that we just have to talk about. They show up, like a old long lost relative who might possibly give you money. So you let them, you let them in the house. But anyway, that's the deal. So we have got a absolutely packed show for you guys. First of all, we're definitely going to be talking about Sinners because there's a lot of people out there who need to start eating that crow that they were saying about this film. People who were just like, nah, it's not going to make its money back, really. And now it seems like some people, it's almost like they're gritting their teeth by saying how well Sinners is doing. But it's not just the box office numbers. It's way deeper than that. So we've also got some hot topics. And most importantly, we have got a special guest, author Douglas A. Burton, who is going to be on the show. He's backstage. I'll bring him out in a little bit. So I'd really appreciate it if one of my mods could get Doug's channel and put the link in the chat. I surely would appreciate that. 50 of you guys starting to come on in. Before we do that, let me bring in my wing woman, Erica from Hanging with Erica. And Rob, how you doing, my dear?
Doing good. Keep on with the yard work and fighting the bees was today's adventure.
Yeah. Bees are it was honeybees, right?
I don't know what they are, but they look like freaking hornets today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hornets are
got that
different.
pavilion put up. I got that pavilion put up that I showed you, and the little varmints still kept getting in despite the fact that it had a netting. So I got more mosquito netting, and we draped the whole freaking thing in it. and they're still getting in. So today it was all afternoon battling, and I mean they were like, I had 2 of them like this big. Yeah, it's gonna be all afternoon to finally work up the nerve to kill. It was like it was a whole thing.
You might have to get an expert to come out there. For some reason, the wasps are just attracted. They are hard to get rid of. I mean, honeybees are cool because they pollinate and everything, and they just kind of, hit around from flower to flower. But wasps, oh no, they are just the freaking worst. They really
Yeah,
are, and
they
they're very.
a-holes.
Yes, they are. They are the a-holes of the bee community. Well, first of all, your hair looks really pretty.
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, so I got my dates mixed up. My hair appointment's actually next week,
Oh.
but I found my conditioner finally because they stopped selling it at the BX. So there's this some German beauty store that started advertising on YouTube, and I was like, oh, they got my Pureology color fanatic
Ooh.
treatment that is like to my
Yeah.
hair, and yeah, no, it's falling nice.
It looks
It
so
doesn't
good.
feel so ratty. But yeah, next week it'll be completely different. It'll be more blonde and whatever else they do to it. I don't know. I just told them
Well, I cannot wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. So, also another thing I can't wait to see. Of course, we have our special guest, Dr. Douglas A. Burton. How you doing?
Excellent. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I had to deal with a few wasps just yesterday myself. Did the very brave firing raid from afar to knock out a nest.
See, I can't find sprays like that out here that shoots like a mile away. Yeah, so that's gonna, and I think that kind of poison is illegal in this country, which is why I can't get my hands on a poison like that. So I literally have to go up to the stupid thing and like, and pray it doesn't chase me.
Well, it's like a Death Star blast. You just stand there and you're like, bing, and it hits the nest and it just comes down. So it was on the patio at like, down where the kids are. So I was like, yeah, that one, I can't let that one stand. So I had to fire when ready.
Yeah, you pretty much have to salt the field when it comes to wasps. They are seriously aggressive. Not to be confused with something called a dirt dauber, which are like these big ants with wings.
Things.
Yeah,
they're just nasty.
Yeah, they're just annoying. They just get mud and make like little mud huts and stuff everywhere. They don't sting. They're just kind of like inconvenient.
They're ugly as sin, that's for sure.
Yep. But what definitely isn't ugly is the almost 50 of you guys watching between YouTube and between X. So if you are on YouTube, please do like this stream. That is your price of admission, and heart the stream over on X if you are watching. So, well, okay, we're just going to get right into the hot topics. Quick hits of what's going on in pop culture to keep you all informed. And another reason that I love doing this show is I can bring up the kind of stuff that I like to share with you guys. And starting off with, you know what? No. I got to welcome you guys in the chat first before I start the hot topic. Shame on me, because you guys are my co-hosts for the show. Hey, DJ Knight, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm glad you like it. Thank you. And we've got Steel Leg of History. Hello, my dear. Says Reina Creole. Hello, how are you doing tonight? Be blessed. Well, I am blessed to be hanging out with all of you guys and get to do this YouTube thing that is not only fun, but all my little nieces and nephews think I'm cool because I do it. And they tell their friends, really, my aunchie's on YouTube.
They probably think you've got mad Riz.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What's Riz?
Oh, that's I mean, it's short for charisma. So it's morphed into its own, like, if you've got Riz, you've got like star power. You're awesome. And there's something called W. I found out there's something called W Riz, which means you've got game. So W Riz means you're good picking up.
Oh, I missed the 90s street language. It was straight to the point.
Yeah.
Not the, way around. I remember my oh my gosh, my cousin, younger cousin at the time, she was like, your makeup is on fleek. I'm like, what the heck is that?
What?
She's like,
I didn't hear it. Dang, I'm so old now,
this is like really old. They're like, yeah, it's on fleek. And then when she asked me, she said, do you know what thought means? I said, yes, and you don't need to know either.
Oh,
I did know. I'm like, nah, you don't need to know that. You don't even know that.
Can I ask a question to the chat since you're talking to them? For those of you who saw it, what about Lorena's new intro? That's pretty updated. You got some new stuff in there. Like brand spanking new.
Mm-hmm. And something in there which man, I love Key and Peele. You love Key and Peele. I love them to death. Oh yes, guys, let me know what you think. I like to drop some things in there, kind of change it up a little bit. Teresa, Miss Martin Musa, thank you so very much for that 99-cent super sticker. I bet you it is a rose, like you always like to do. Oh, so appreciate you. Here you go. Thank you for that 99-cent super chat, my dear. One of the old school folks who've been supporting my channel ever since I started it. I got peer pressured into starting it. So it's always wonderful to see you guys. So thank you so much. And folks, please do check out Teresa's channel, Ms. Martin Muses. Once again, I'm really leaning on my mods here. If you can find Teresa's channel, please drop that link in the chat. I appreciate it. She is what I call my Tolkien consigliere. So she's real. She knows it. So she's the person I talk to about that. Let's see who else we have got. We have got another one of my awesome mods, Snortapoopus Cuber, who says, hello, humans and other critters. He is our polar bear from Pinellas County. And let's see, of course, Tom F., another one of my awesome mods. I got to meet him and his lovely wife, Linda, and also the Dadmans and their family. We were all out at Epic Universe yesterday. So we had fun all meeting up in the Burning Blade Tavern.
Wow.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun. We were all quite wiped out, or as the Brits would say, totally knackered, but we didn't care because we were so busy. Have you heard of that before?
No.
No,
I like it. I'll start using it.
Knackered.
I
remember that.
I love British slang. They're like, I was just totally knackered. And I'm like, what is that? It's basically so tired you can't, it's worse than tired. You're just worn out for real. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use that one. I'm gonna use that one. All right, let's see. And there's Linda. Hello, my dear. Says hello, Lorena and everyone. Yes, good to see all of you. Tom F and I had an epic time at Epic Universe yesterday with you, Lorena. Yes, we had so much fun. We dined at the Atlantic restaurant, which is it's so good. It's so good. We're gonna talk about it on Saturday.
I want the details.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that on Saturday and some select merchandise that I went and got because I had to have it. I had to have it, especially a certain bag that I was looking at in my other Epic Universe streams. I'm like, no, not gonna get it. Yeah, I got it. I got it. So I'm gonna show it to you guys on Saturday. Hey, Thanatos Felicitas, good to see you. And thank you for being a channel member. And also, if you are a channel member, I dropped some raw footage today of the queue for the Mario Kart attraction. So if you remember, I've got 20 minutes of raw footage. You guys can go and check that out. That is quite possibly one of the best cues, I would say, up there with Tower Terror, Pirates of the Caribbean, Expedition Everest. Back when, the queue, there's so much going on that you're not aware of how long your wait is. It is next level.
Wow.
It's absolutely
Yeah,
next level.
when they can stylize the queue lines, I feel like that was they started doing that in like the late 90s. That was a winning idea,
Absolutely. It's like, wait, slow down. That's
yeah, I
so
remember
much
Star
stuff.
Tours. Yes, was awesome.
Because you felt like you were actually in a starport. There's Mama L. Hello, Mama Lugo. Good to see you. Good to see you. How did that Ropa Via turn out?
Oh, delicious. She sent me pictures. I was like, ugh. I could make it, but it's not your mama's cooking.
I love Ropa Via. I went to this Cuban restaurant in Philly, and I was looking at it, like, oh, Ropa Via. Okay, I'll try that. That was the driest Ropa Via. It was so nasty.
Oof.
I don't know what Cuban ancestor me was just like, send it back and tell them, do not ever serve this to any living person. It was like,
no, you literally cook it in a sauce. How do you screw that up?
There was no sauce. It was like dried up and oh God, it was the worst. It was the worst.
Yikes.
It was the worst. It was so bad.
Are you sure it wasn't like tasajo, which is like fried cow?
No.
They called it ropa vieja.
They called it ropa vieja, yes. That's what they called it. And I almost turned into Gordon Ramsay. It was the worst. It was the worst. It was probably the worst. Probably up there with fried tripe with my Nana tried to get me to eat. I'm like, no. Disgusting. It's worse than Scrapple. Hey, Juliet. Good to see you. Weird. Yes.
Weird.
As the Mad Hatter would say, we're all mad here.
Aldo's girl.
Hey, good seeing you, Aldo. Hope you're doing well. I know you're way in Hollywood, so I hope you're doing good. Hope you've been some good luck with auditions and stuff. See who else we have got around here. Hey, going Shogi. Yes, we want bees. We want honeybees. The ones that pollinate everything. Those
far away from me.
Yeah,
I don't like them either.
They usually kind of mind their own business.
Yeah, bees are okay. They're okay.
Yeah. I love seeing bees in my garden. Means I'm going to get some fruit and peppers. Yeah, and then you get that one bee that's just, I don't know, the kamikaze bee or whatever that just comes after you. I'm like, what the heck is?
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't know which one. No.
No,
it's going to be that bee. And that's what I don't like about them. They're unpredictable.
They're crazy. They're really, really nuts.
Do you ever get those bees? They kind of like bounce off you, like the warning bounce. They come zipping in and they bump you, but they don't sting you. And then you're like, all right, I'll get out of here for a little bit and I'll be back later.
It's like, go away.
I'm getting a beekeeper outfit now just so I can water the yard.
Not that they're actually worse than bees for me. They are mosquitoes. They always find me. They always bite me. And they got into my house, and I think like 3 days ago, I had all over me. Camera girl, nothing. Me, it's like they had a buffet all night. So I had to get the mosquito zapper? I don't know. It's like it gets this blue light, which is cool because it matches the studio. Yeah. And I didn't think it would work. It's got like about 20 of those things stuck in a trap right now.
I ordered 2 of them tonight. One's coming tomorrow. It's remote control. And then the other one will be here Friday. I think that one is like solar powered.
Oh, yeah. You
And
need one
sticky
of
pads.
those.
I hung sticky pads in my little
Mm-hmm.
pavilion thing to trap whatever SOB is gonna be
Yeah.
in there.
Because they will come after you, and they ignore everyone else, but they come right at me. I'm just, I don't know. Really, literally, when I go to Disney, usually I don't get bit at Disney, but I take it anyway. I literally smell like, oh, the deep woods off because I can't have these things
Oh, that's the
bite me.
yeah.
Sam Wolf, good to see you. Good to see you. And the Key and Peele Soldier Playing Dead is my favorite skit. Oh, I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one. But I will say the Magic Negro fight that is one of that one, the only one that's better than that one is the Clortho School, the Vince Clortho School of Magic. And it's themed
I don't
after
think I've
like
seen that.
inner city schools in trouble, that series. And that's what they do. They're just like, we're not as well known as Hogwarts. And then they show Hogwarts is up here, and then Vince Clortho is way down here. Vince Clortho from
Ghostbusters
Ghostbusters, just in
2.
case you didn't know.
Vince Clortho.
That was freaking hysterical. I did. Oh, you gotta watch that. It's just hilarious. Wands with silencers on them, dime bags of pixie dust. Let's see. Yes, I did. I got to meet Aang. I always love meeting her. She's so sweet. I love meeting her. Love meeting her. Hey Sonia, good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you got to see the film. Glad you got to see it. And guess who is at Epic? Day's Life at the Kingdom. Hello, guys from Epic. Hope you guys have an epic stream today. Yes,
Awesome.
we are. Dan's Life at the Kingdom. I met him the first day of annual pass holder previews, which was April 17th. And both he and both Ron, we all said the same thing. As soon as we exited the warp pipe in Super Nintendo world, it's like we almost started crying. We just had to stop and take everything in because it was like a blue Florida sky, and all you could see was just all these kinetic elements.
Oh, wow.
In the Mushroom Kingdom, you saw the shells, you saw the coins, you saw, Yoshi going around, you saw like all the power-up bricks, the piranha plants, and everything. It was
man, that sounds so cool.
It was so awesome.
I
And
can't wait to go.
when you go in, you go
Yeah.
like up, which is different from the other parks. So you go up, and it literally has like the warp pipe sounds that are going as you're going up there. It is yes, it's so cool. It even has Bowser graffiti in there.
Bowser graffiti?
Yes, he's just when he says, "Look what I found," and he's got like like a drawing
Like
of
a
a
little
toad.
one-up mushroom.
Yes,
It looked like the little when you get an extra life in the older
mushroom?
Mario. And that was the one thing we said as 80s kids, looky what I got. That would be the first thing you'd say as a kid. That's what I got out of it when I saw a picture of it.
it was so cute. Sam Wolf, Life of a Military Wife, says, I watched your live stream after the fact, and the kid they have playing Hiccup is spot on. Yes.
Yes.
He is
How to Train Your Dragon
so
live
good.
action?
Well, the live action version of the one from the cartoon. So they have the meet and greets now at Isla Burke in Epic Universe. So you can meet Rough Nut and Tough Nut. They're usually out around, and sometimes they'll audio bomb, Hiccup when he's there with Toothless. You'll see like Astrid, and she'll have her dragon Stormfly at the meet and greet, or sometimes they're walking around. But the actor they have playing Hiccup, he's there with Toothless, and that is the most advanced puppet I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, like the way he moves, you can like hear how he breathes, the vocal sounds that he makes, and that's a 2-hour wait, folks, minimum when it opens to the public, and people will wait because they'll wait 2 hours for the Grinch, or 2 hours for like the Jack and Sally meet and greet during Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party because it's just that good. And
it's all about that picture and the say you did it. You know, I mean, when you're there, you got to do the thing. So if you have to wait, you got to wait.
Gotta wait, and people will do it. So I'm just saying, menudo or haggis. Menudo, yes. Haggis, hell no.
I can't do it.
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna go with the menudo.
Haggis is worse than chitlins, and I will not eat either. Go Google that. Okay, Google that. Find
I'm
out what
afraid to now.
Yeah, but yeah, don't. If you ever see that at a soul food restaurant, leave. Just saying. Zegler became a human meme. Yes, she did. I'm glad you've been good. Arlene Navo is here, who says, hello, chat. Long time no see. Well, glad you're back here so we can see you.
Awesome.
Hope you're doing well. And let's see. Brian McCann, hello. Doom the Dark Ages releases May 15th. I'm buying it. Video game, right? I'm so behind on stuff being released for Doom. I just downloaded Doom 1 and 2, the original, because I just want that throwback feel. So you're gonna have to let me know. There's so many darn games. I'm saving for Stellar Blade because I want to play Stellar Blade when that comes out. Let's see. 50-50 mix of vanilla extract and water in a spray bottle is a miracle mosquito repellent. They also hate peppermint oil. These are Florida mosquitoes. They will bite you through a linen shirt. They don't care. These mosquitoes,
Florida mosquitoes are pretty rough, man.
Yes, they are little vampires. I mean, that'll work for nice little, northern and western mosquitoes, but not down here. They will suck up off like orange juice.
Yeah, northern mosquitoes is rookie league. Florida is the bigs. The best of the best go to Florida mosquito wise.
I've still gotten bit using the off repellent in the green can that you find in the camping aisle. They say that's the best one. I mean, it works okay, but you're still going to get bit. It just mitigates how many bites.
Yeah. There used to be one called Bullfrog that was waterproof SPF 25 sunscreen with mosquito repellent. That stuff was so good. I think it ran afoul of the FDA because they pulled it out of the market, but it was the best.
Never mind.
I was going to
go Googling it.
Waterproof sunscreen and mosquito repellent, and it was some good stuff. And then one day I looked around, I'm like, wait, they're not selling it on Amazon. Uh-oh. You did that today for Bowser Jr. getting 3 keys. That was so cool. Yeah, the Super Nintendo World is so much fun. I can't wait to go back on Thursday. Isn't haggis just Scottish boudin, or is boudin just Cajun haggis? 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I will never eat either. I do not like boudin. That's like blood sausage that I don't know.
Ew, I don't like
boudin is Cajun scrapple. If you're from Pennsylvania, you know what scrapple is. It's the most disgusting thing. My southern grandma liked it. She made it once for breakfast, and I'm like, why is the sausage falling apart? And then I ate it, and I'm like, this is really disgusting. And it was then that I learned my ability to read went against me, because I pulled out the wrapper for Scrapple and then read the ingredients. I'm never eating that again.
Scrapple?
Never. Scrapple is everything left over after you get like the choice cuts of the pig and everything. Apparently it's a Pennsylvania thing. It's like leftover. Yeah. It's basically everything else that's left over, and they just basically put through the meat grinder.
Oh. Okay, I see it.
Okay.
No, I'm like, I really wished I didn't learn to read early. I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. Oh, How do Florida mosquitoes compare to Alaska? Once they will suck you dry repeatedly. Doesn't
I
care
have
what you
never
have on.
encountered the Alaskan mosquito yet.
Yeah. I didn't even know. I guess the mosquitoes come out of hibernation. I guess they are mitigators with wings. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Florida mosquitoes, aka A10 warthogs. Yes.
Yep, that's
They
right.
are nuts. And yes, Gulf Coast, any down there, they are. They are. I remember I was working at NASA and I had a linen shirt on and a mosquito this big landed on me and bit me through my darn shirt.
I hate mosquitoes.
They are.
I hate it because
They
they'll
are.
swarm you too. You know, you get to the point
Oh
where
yeah.
you feel them everywhere.
They'll swarm in your cars too, and that's when you're really screwed. Is when they get in your car.
Oh yes, yes, and then
That's
it's
the
just
worst.
like kill it, just kill it. I remember
Yeah,
one
the
time.
worst is like if a mosquito gets in your room, right? And you're just about to fall asleep and then you see it, you're like, well, now I can't fall asleep. I got to hunt this thing down. I've got to settle this. Otherwise, I'm just, I'm a sitting target.
Did you ever kill one and had blood in it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's so nasty.
It was just the
Yeah,
worst.
that means they got somebody.
Yeah, it was me. They didn't bite they do not bite anyone else in my family. They all come after me. And don't turn the light on. Okay? Don't turn the porch light on. Okay?
And nice to meet you too, Braylon.
Yeah, Braylon, good seeing you. Good seeing you. And 100 of you guys watching. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's get to the hot topics. First one, boom, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2025 inductees include Cyndi Lauper, Outkast, and the White Stripes. Soundgarden, Chubby Checker, and Joe Cocker also made the cut. Now,
Salt and Pepper made the cut.
Which one?
Salt and Pepper.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh,
Salt and Pepper's in there, and then
let me check down here. Salt and where are they? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Some of these I don't know, but definitely, oh my gosh, definitely Salt and Pepper. Love them. Grew up listening to them. Outkast. That is the most fun band ever. I love Outkast. If you've ever watched on Cartoon Network a show called Class of 3000, that was done by Andre Benjamin of Outkast. He's Andre 3000, but he went by Andre Benjamin in that one. And it was about the school, like, talented musical students. Camera Girl loved that. The music on that was amazing.
Oh wow.
So yeah, check that. Used to be on Cartoon Network. But
well,
it was
cool. It's funny with Cyndi Lauper. It's strange, but I've been hearing her on, like, when you go to like a store or whatever, I'm hearing it in the background, like background music. I was like, man, Cyndi Lauper is everywhere all of a sudden. So something's going on. Either she's just in the zeitgeist or she's in the bloodstream, and now she's inducted.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, because I loved Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I freaking love that.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the girls' anthem for a long time.
Oh, Erica, you're muted.
You're
sorry.
There you go. Okay, happens.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like the girl anthem of the 80s.
Big time.
Mm-hmm. And Captain Lou Albano, if you were a fan of wrestling, he was in that video as well. Back when they had music videos, actually, on
yeah, I miss music videos. Speaking of which, it's funny. One of the music videos that always creeped me out was a Soundgarden one. Remember the big eyes?
Yes.
On that one.
So I remember Soundgarden and Chubby Checker, of course. Joe Cocker, I knew who he was. I knew him. So that is, that is just awesome, especially with Salt and Pepper. And I guess I'm getting old because now people I used to listen to are getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So
yeah, in 25 years, I mean, they make you wait for the Music Hall of Fame. It's like in sports, you could be inducted 5 years after you retire. So, just enough time to kind of get out of the conversation. But here, 25 years since your first official release, I mean, that's more than a generation before you can get in there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, I had to bring this up and that's why you saw Outkast in the intro with their most famous song, "Hey Ya." That video was genius. You want to talk about how some videos were shot? Yeah, that was really cool. Really cool. They actually used that in Sinners. And speaking of that, Cameron, how you doing?
Oh, Cameron.
Hey, it says just dropped in to say that Sinners is one of the greatest movies ever made. End of story. Well, my friend, you will not get an argument from me on that whatsoever. And looking forward to having you on the show next week. It's Holly Weird Explained. We're going to be talking about that. So good seeing you, my dear. And yes, I am loving all the flowers that Sinners is getting. That's why we got Doug on the show this week and talk about that. Constellation Carousel. Dan, Constellation Carousel at Epic Universe is like somebody get into my brain, said, this is the kind of carousel that you would love if you made it. And they put it into existence. It is gorgeous. It is fun. The music is different at night. And it goes backwards too.
Oh, really?
It does. It goes forwards and then it goes backwards. But at night, they kind of have like EDM music kind of going on. It's so much fun. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So let me know what you think about it.
When you say EDM, is that the music that makes like your scalp chill or whatever? Is that what that EDM music is?
Yeah, like Daft Punk.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like that, but they have the genre, but they kind of like with the way they did it. It's so the music. It's like during the day, it's nice, light, kind of music, but yeah, at night it does sound like a rave party. Which is, I think, pretty cool. I'm like, where are these people trying to get on this, carousel? It was amazing. And yes, if you're hearing them at your local grocery store or the Target, they're getting close to that Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
That must be it, man.
Do elevators count in hair salons?
I would say so, yes. Easy listening. Hey, Snort. Good night. Yeah, that easy, easy listening. And I forget where the heck else I was. And I heard it. I'm like, man, they're really playing that now. Oh God, I'm old. Gets my grits. How you doing, my dear? Says, hey, Lorena, I got something to tell you. If I want to take a guy home with me tonight, it's none of your business. And if you want to be a freak and sell it on the weekend, it's none of your business. I love that. I love Salt and Pepper.
Oh, man.
What a Man by Salt and Pepper. That is in the first Deadpool movie. No, that's Shoot. Sorry. Yeah. It's in Deadpool when he's just sitting there kicking his feet and he's drawing and he's just catching us all up on what's going on. They're playing Shoot by
the first Deadpool.
First Deadpool.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Linda says love that carousel. Yes. Yes, it is so gorgeous. Forwards, backwards, sideways, and mix. Actually turned the camera on me. It was so much fun going on the carousel, and definitely excited about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees.
Yeah, it's a good list.
Yeah, an amazing list, and so well deserved by all of them. but definitely well deserved from Salt and Pepper, and especially Outkast for us.
Yeah, Outkast was everywhere, man.
One of the best bands. Well, on to our next topic from Variety. Back to the Future. Screenwriter Bob Gale says there will never be another sequel, prequel, or spin-off. It's just fine the way that it is. What say you, panel?
Erica, what do you think?
As much as we would love to hope they could write the continuation of a story, some things are better left alone, and this is one of them. Keep it a classic. Don't ruin it, because if you try to spin it off or do a prequel or a sequel, then it puts a bad taste in your mouth, and then you don't want to watch the originals if it puts that bad of a taste in your mouth. It just kind of ruins it.
Yeah, and this is amazing too, because we are in the age of everything: sequel, spin-off, prequel, everything. TV show, streaming show. I mean, Andor is a side character in a spin-off of a prequel. It's as down the stream as you can get, and we got 2 seasons of this. So it's so funny that there's like, it seems like no one is immune to this. James Bond just got bought over. Wrinkle in Time, Star Wars, Star Trek. No one is immune to this. So it's weird that there's like this one hill that they're willing to die on, and it's Back to the Future. And I'm proud of them. I'm like, hold your ground, guys.
Yes.
They're in this like bubble of, they like the idea of continuing these stories. And I get that, because, I tend to do that in my own imagination. Okay, well, what happened to Marty and Jennifer, when they wrote their own future? But maybe it's better left to the imagination than actually entertaining it as a project to put on the screen, or in people's living rooms, because it never lands. We're overly saturated.
Overly saturated is the perfect word for it. It is. And what's crazy is, because we're all fans of these, we just always secretly hold out hope that they're going to land it, right? That they're going to do something that we're going to like. And what's crazy is, Back to the Future is almost a perfect one to do a redo, because it's stories of intergenerational differences, like a contrast in different generations, with your parents being, you get to meet your parents at your age, right? So we were the kids, we were the teenagers when Back to the Future came out, and we're like, oh, we're thrown back in the mix with our parents in the 1950s. So, some part of me would love to see, Marty McFly, whatever, the Gen X as parents, and their kids get to go back to the 1980s when we were. I would love to see that. It seems like the premise would work, but I don't trust anybody anymore to handle these things, So
exactly,
they find a way to do something ridiculous with it, and then we'd hate it. And so,
and then it just ruins the whole. It even ruins the original. You just kind of get.
It can actually,
I guess, fatigued. I don't know. It taints it.
You're right. It does, because what'll happen is they'll do something so egregious. They'll make a joke that's so bad, like a life preserver. They'll have someone wear a life and you're like, oh God, that's a dumb joke. And then you can't watch the original without thinking of those stupid things they did with the remake. So yeah, just leave it alone. It's going to make Back to the Future so much more valuable as time goes by.
Exactly. And they're not doing that. They're not preserving the integrity of these original stories and these original trilogies, because now it's no longer trilogies is what they're selling. And it's not even a franchise. They're universes. Marvel universe, Star Wars universe. And it's like, come on, we're begging you guys to bring us original characters and stories, and all you're doing is copy and pasting what's already been done, and you keep doing it over and over and over again.
It is exhausting, and I'll save this commentary for when we get to it, but that's one of the reasons why Sinners is such a breath of fresh air, and we'll get into that. But I myself, as a fan of all these old, like Terminator and Star Wars and Star Trek, as a fan, I want, there's a part of me, like I said, that wants these to be good, that wants more storytelling and all that.
Right.
but it's gotten so bad, like you said, overly saturated, that when you look at all the upcoming lineup, it's all, you know, Top Gun 3, Mission Impossible 9, you know, it's all the same stuff redone. Even Final Destination, you know, coming up. So here's Sinners, and it's none of those things. And that's what we need more of. We need more original story. We need a new generation to come in and tell some original stories and really wow us.
Exactly. And just to let people know where this came from, Universal Studios Hollywood had a fan fest event. I was drooling over it, where they literally had some folks out like Marnie and and the professor here, dead on. But that had some people thinking, you know, hey, what's going on? So apparently from Variety here by Jack Dunn, don't expect Back to the Future to return from the past. While speaking at Universal Fan Fest on Friday, the link we have people, Back to the Future screenwriter Bob Gale shut down the possibility of any more follow-ups to the classic 1985 film edition after the Cobra Kai finale teased a television adaptation. So it's Cobra Kai's fault, right?
I don't know why it just worked. It just worked differently with Karate Kid. I don't know what it is about Karate Kid, and maybe it was just the way it was written. They were so careful with writing it and ensuring that they were keeping the integrity of the original stories and those characters, especially with Mr. Miyagi, who the actor has passed away. And I forget his real name, but very beloved man. And I liked the show. I mean, there was a lot of, you know, redundancy, but it was just fun. You know,
It was
fun. Popcorn in your microwave, sit on the couch, escape for they were like 30-minute episodes, I think, maybe 40 minutes. And it was just fun. I mean, and it's Karate Kid. Like at the end of the day, it's kind of in a way meant for kids. You know, and I didn't mind it. But like I said, they seemed to be really careful in the writing, and I loved all the flashbacks from the original movies and the way they tied it in.
Well, there was so much love.
It just worked.
Yeah, there's so much love for the original films and the characters. One way they demonstrated the love of the franchise was they would find all the characters, even obscure characters, even the little girl from Karate Kid 2. They would bring them back, and they wouldn't just throw them in. They would give them a role essential to the plot in that episode and give them dialogue and acting and screen time. And I was like, they love the Karate Kid, and you could feel it when you were watching it. And that's a big difference. That's a big difference in the storytelling of Cobra Kai versus 90% of the continuation storytelling.
Is that they didn't film enough in Okinawa. And I'm biased because we lived there for 3 years and I freaking love Okinawa. So I just wish they had filmed more out
Erica,
there.
it's a valid complaint.
Yeah, it is. I thought that too. I'm like, can't we get more? Can't we get more of that? But who knows?
Hey, look at those beaches.
It's like, I would have loved to have seen that. I don't know if they were like, look, we can only come over here and spend so much money. But one of the things that I like about Hayden Schlossberg, and he's talked about this repeatedly, is like, if you want to revive a franchise or, you know, do a spinoff, you need to respect the source material. You need to respect the fans of that source material. And I'm paraphrasing here, you have to put it from a standpoint of bringing new people in who can catch up, and at the same time bringing all, you know, the fans who've been watching it for years, like, yeah, that would happen. Yeah, that would happen. Yeah, that would happen. But give them also a reason to watch that. Because with Cobra Kai, I'm like, I've seen the movies. Why the heck do I need to watch, you know, Cobra Kai? And people were like, no, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. They totally turned it on its head. And I saw the first episode and just binged the first 2 seasons when they were on YouTube.
My kids and I rewatched the first episode after the season ended. And it dawned on me, I was like, man, this whole thing was born of the premise that what if Johnny Lawrence was not the bad guy. You know, what if we got him wrong all these years, right? And they just they ran with that, and they did such a good job with it. And you know, it's funny, the legacy media always frames it the wrong way. It's like, if you want Star Wars, then that means you're stuck in the past. So we're going to redo Star Wars, but we're going to do it in a way that's not Star Wars. And it's like, no, that you can do old things that are essential to the brand, and then do things that are unexpected. You can do both. And Cobra Kai just hit it out of the park every time.
Yeah, they really did. But something that I don't know if it's cautiously optimistic, but I have the side eye on, because this movie that's being made is based on a television series that made me want to become a homicide detective.
Oh.
Coming from Deadline, Miami Vice redo revs with Top Gun Maverick helmer Joseph Kosinski, Dan Gilroy, I wonder if he's related to Tony, rewriting Eric Warner Singer script. So apparently there was a script out there for the Miami Vice film, and now they're going to be rewriting it. Now, I did not see the Miami Vice redone film because I am a fan of the show. You want to talk about 80s in a bottle? That was Miami Vice. That was 80s just in a bottle. They spoofed it in The Fall Guy, which was great because they did it, you know, perfectly in The Fall Guy when they spoofed it. It's like I'm tired of remakes. You know, it's like they could subvert our expectations, but you know, I don't get it. This is Miami, pal, where you can't even tell the players without a program. Yeah, I'm not into remakes. You know, especially with Miami Vice, that I really don't believe that series could be remade into a movie, even, you know, with Top Gun, you know, with Joseph Kosinski in it. What do you all think? Is it just like we're just tired of remakes and crap
I
on
am.
the 80s childhood? Yeah.
Well, real quick, Dan Gilroy is the brother of Tony Gilroy. So they are brothers.
Oh, okay.
So as with most things, it's who's involved, right? It's who's going to do the remake. These guys have a little bit of I have some faith in them because of how good they did with something like Top Gun Maverick. Because let's be honest, Top Gun Maverick was a pure 80s, you know, aviation film. In fact, I was shocked when I saw Maverick, and they're like, "There's only been 3 KIAs since the 80s in the airspace," and I was like, "Yeah, we haven't had any air battles for decades." I was like, "What are we doing with Top Gun? Like, what? We're doing a sequel?" And then they nailed it. They completely nailed it. Top Gun went on to become one of the highest grossing domestic films of all time. And it's really good. It was infinitely rewatchable. My kids loved it. I loved it.
It's awesome.
So, you know, these guys have earned, I would say, some trust out of the public. So like anything, who is working on it, that sometimes can give you a clue as to the level of quality and craftsmanship you can expect. There's no guarantees, but I would say I would be cautiously optimistic about this.
Yeah, and that's kind of like where I'm at. If none of these people were mentioned, I'd be like, nah, I don't think it would work. But with these people involved, and especially given how Maverick was such a good movie, it's like, maybe they can keep it up and you know, subvert our expectations and give us, you know, a love letter to Miami Vice show, which is just amazing. Where did they get Jan Hammer? Jan Hammer better score that. I can't see anybody else besides maybe Hans Zimmer. And Kiss My Grits, you know what? You're a step ahead of me. I'm gonna call it Glenn Powell and Michael B. Jordan. That's who I see too. You read my mind. I totally, if they did this,
those are two of the hottest actors right now, like in Hollywood. I mean, they're being cast and everything, and they're Michael B. Jordan and Glenn Powell. You know, they say the age of the movie star is over. No one goes to the movies just because someone's cast in it, except those guys. Those guys still have some major star power, like kind of like throwback Hollywood movie stars. So that would be a pretty good tandem.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Erica?
Yeah, I don't really remember Miami Vice. I remember the title, but so I don't have a whole lot to say on it. My mom commented something in there, and I don't
Oh,
get the reference. So you guys might.
yeah. Oh, that episode broke my heart. Oh my goodness. That one broke my heart. Yeah, Miami Vice, slick cars, lots of guns, lots of car chases, lots of boat chases with with guns. Just
So I have vague memories of seeing boat chases on TV and my dad watching, but I was too busy playing with my toys.
yeah, I was weird.
I was with my Barbie dolls. I'm sorry.
I'm watching Miami Vice. Go ahead, Doug.
It was one of the defining looks of the 80s. You know, the white suit. You know, I mean,
I remember the look, the aesthetic.
Yeah, I mean,
of course,
it created it almost created its own archetypal imaging. You know, just by itself.
It did.
Oh, if you want to see how old it was, so I don't get claimed. Yeah, this is Miami Vice, the 80s neon.
Oh yeah.
You know, all of that. I mean, this was like it. This was the look with the jacket, the Sonny Crockett light suit, and the know, and the shirt. And that got spoofed in so many shows and movies. They just had, you know, the Crockett look there. Tubbs always had, you know, he always had the nice suit. God, this was so 80s.
It is. It's so 80s. And you're right. They spoof it a lot in Fall Guy.
Oh, yeah. That scene where he walks into the, hey, Amanda, good to see you. Where he walks into the airport and there's a shot of him from the back and he's got the Miami Vice stunt crew jacket on.
Yes. Yep.
That said so much.
Yeah, they use it to set up scenes, like set up and payoffs and all that. He has the Miami Vice jacket. So it's used in Fall Guy.
Yeah, totally. So that was great. But yeah, it's like I hope they do this right. Yes, loafers with no socks. That was the other thing. I learned on Miami Vice that even if I wanted to be a homicide detective because of the way I looked, more than likely I was gonna get stuck as a vice cop for a while. Because I forget which one. She was like, I'm tired of working Vice. I want to make detective. They're like, hey, look, we need you. And they're just like, yeah, okay, whatever. So yeah, I remember that. I used to watch that because at one time I thought I wanted to be a homicide detective. But yeah, hopefully that is going to work out. And let me see what our last one. Yeah, I'm going to bring this up because I am such a huge Hong Kong kung fu fan. Those of you who are physical media aficionados, even those who like 4K restorations, this is for you. Jet Li, Chow Yun Fat Films lead Shout Studios Hong Kong Cinema Classics label, company to release 4K restorations of iconic Hong Kong action films, including works by John Woo, Lingo Ram, and Sul Hark.
Wow, John Woo.
I am so hyped up about this. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, like my parents didn't have cable. So on Saturdays, like after the Saturday morning cartoons, it was either Creature double feature or Kung Fu Theater. And I loved watching those films. The dubbing was horrible, but the story you got sucked into anyway, even though they weren't speaking English. And Hong Kong had this specific style to their martial arts films. So apparently, this company is going to start with the 4K digital releases, and the physical release will be, my God, the Jet Li collection. 10 disc 4K UHD plus Blu-ray box set arriving July 29th. Comprehensive set features 5 of the martial arts superstar seminal Hong Kong films: Fist of Legend, Tai Chi Master, Fong Sai-yuk 2, and The Bodyguard from Beijing. Includes new interviews, audio commentaries, and vintage featurettes and more special features.
Wow.
This is going to be amazing, and I can't wait to get it.
Wow. Erica, are you into the kung fu movies at all, by any chance?
No, my dad is though. He loves those movies. So it'd be a great little gift set for him if they have a DVD player. Mom, you guys got a DVD player? I know they got a roasted stick.
I never really got into the kung fu movies, but not because I didn't like them. It's not like I've watched them and decided they weren't for me. I just never seen them yet. And I have a funny feeling I would absolutely love them. I will say that I am a 4K guy. Like when something I know comes out on 4K, I am lined up months in advance. I will mark it on my calendar. Like when the Jim Cameron stuff came out, and Aliens finally came, and Alien, and Terminator 2, all these came out on 4K. I was months ahead, counting down the days. Amadeus was another one that they finally just released in 4K. So I can get on the 4K buzz of these things, because it's like if you're into these movies and they release it in 4K, it's like you get to re-experience the movie at a resolution you've never seen. The movie looks different. It feels different. So it's a big deal when they come out on 4K. You get to see it. It's like a whole new, it's like seeing it for the first time again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Doug, I feel you really enjoy it. If you like the John Wick films.
I love the John Wick films.
A lot of it has its roots in the Hong Kong Kung Fu movie. Some of the stunt coordinators were on it. Like Donnie Yen, he was also in the Hong Kong Kung Fu movies as well. So I would say check it out.
I have a funny feeling I'm gonna like them, because a couple of years ago I finally watched Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee, and I loved it. And I actually started reading up on Bruce Lee. He's got a couple books, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, which is incredible. And I read the book written by his daughter called Be Water, My Friends. And anyway, I kind of got into all this. So I was like, man, so I feel like that is a door. Once I open it, I'm just going to tumble into it.
Yeah, you will. You will. Next, watch Ip Man.
Okay.
I got the answer from my mom in chat.
She what? No,
I got the answer from my mom in chat. Okay, so you guys have to understand, my dad will sit there and watch shorts of like all these classic movies that he loves. And like, why don't you just watch the movie? Not just sit there on YouTube and watch these like cut up shorts. And it's like a thing with him. It's just funny. It's just the quirk of my dad. So saying this is just funny because it's not hard to imagine.
That's so funny.
But I would like to see more classic films come into 4K. Physical media is, I guess on the rise. I mean, I haven't been out there trying to buy it because I'm lazy. But I'm hearing that it's making a comeback because Hollywood just sucks right now, and what's in is what are the OGs of a lot of what we're seeing
Erica,
now.
so yeah, the OGs are getting all this love and attention. If you look at the Nielsen ratings, people are watching the old stuff a lot, but also Hollywood and the Hollywood studio system has shown a willingness to like edit, offensive things out now. So it's like, oh man. You start to realize that if a radical element really had their way, they would be scrubbing 90% of these films of something. And so the physical media helps to prevent that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I wish I had been more in tuned to that and built up some physical media over the years. I had a really good Disney collection for a while and I lost my case. And I
Oh,
had like the double, like the big diamond collections with all the extra
Ah,
features.
mhm.
It came with the regular DVD and the Blu-ray. And I mean, we're talking like 3, 4 DVDs in each collection. And I had almost every classic Disney movie. And in one of our moves, poof, just gone,
remember
just
when
disappeared.
like Disney movies would come out like every 16 years or something like that, and you can only buy, so everyone would storm to
Yeah.
the, because I
Yep.
remember Pinocchio was like a
The
bit, I
vault.
love,
It's going
yeah,
back in the vault.
yeah, the vault, that's right. I even thought, I was like,
Yeah.
Disney Plus should do some sort of rotation where they pull them off of streaming for a while and then put them back
Yeah.
on to kind of
That's what
replicate that anticipation.
over on Midnight's Edge, Tom Connors is a huge supporter of that. And he brings up really good points on, we don't have that anymore. And he's right. It's kind of the classics have lost their luster, and you have Gen Alpha who's in Gen Z. They're hardly interested in the classics because they're so available all the time now. There's not that sense of, oh,
Mhm.
we better watch it while we can, and grab it because it's going to go in the vault and then good luck, finding it.
You know,
And we don't have that anymore to really hype it up for the next generation and to pass it on to the next generation.
Right.
I totally agree. So my kids are Gen Alpha, and I've found out one of the problems is they're YouTubers. They love watching YouTube. They love watching TikTok, right?
Yep.
So
Mhm.
what
Yep.
happens is bits and pieces of pop culture are chopped up and turned into shorts and jokes and memes,
Yep.
and people cover it.
Mhm.
Like, they knew all about Squid Game. They knew all about it. They bought Lego sets. They bought all sorts of stuff. They dressed up. Never saw a single episode, but they knew the basic plot. They knew all the things. They knew the jumpsuit. They knew 4, 5, 6. They knew the guy with the mask. My son started making those doc G's, those like origami squares that they were playing
Mhm.
with.
Yeah.
So they got this incredible pop culture like frenzy and never saw a second of the actual show. And the same thing with Star Wars, like
Like
because of
Cliff
Lego
Notes.
Star Wars and Star Wars video games, they knew that Luke was the son of Darth Vader before they ever watched A New Hope. So it's weird now when I'm like, let's sit down and watch The Little Mermaid. You're going to love it. They're like, Dad, we kind of get it because they've seen it memed everywhere. So it seems weird for them, instead of the bits and pieces and fun little wildly entertaining bits, to sit down and watch memeable stuff for 2 hours seems bizarre to them. It's like reverse engineering something the slow way. So you're right. There's just something that's missing that we had that they don't. They don't have that.
Yeah. We are kids nowadays anyways are conditioned to receive information in very small increments, and they're getting overly saturated with 60-second videos or less. And when I was leaving youth ministry at that point, this was about 4 years ago, at that point, we were being trained that the average attention span of a teenager is 7 seconds.
I heard
Yeah,
that as well. Mhm.
seconds. You have 7 seconds to get their attention if you're even gonna have a chance at them listening to your message when you're up there teaching or lecturing, talking, which is why we were trained when you're talking to them, uh, no more than 10 or no more than 15 minutes. Once upon a time, like, the millennials, when they were coming up, the attention span was about 20 minutes. Now we're at 7 seconds because of how we've been conditioned to receive information. And this is how the brain has been groomed and rewired in society. And it's kind of scary because I feel sorry for teachers. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you guys do this all
Yeah.
day, every day? I only had these kids for like once a week for like 2 hours,
Mhm.
in religious education. And it was difficult. So I really shout out to teachers because they still have to do their job, and really teach that grammar and that math and
Mhm.
critical
Yeah.
thinking. And I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it when their attention spans are like gnats, literally like gnats.
It's like you have to have a really good hook.
Hook.
Because
Yep.
Camera Girl is Gen Z, and like you were saying, they like these clips of stuff. It's like, give it to me quick. Just, I just want to consume what I have to, and then move on to the next thing.
Yep.
And a phenomenon that I witnessed with her, because she used to watch movies when she was, younger, and I was like, I don't have attention span for it. I'm like, okay, well, I want you to watch this movie. It's called Megan.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, yeah, I know about it. I saw it on TikTok. I'm like, no, I want you to actually sit and watch the actual movie. And there was something about the hook in that film where she sat and she watched the entire thing. She knew all about the Megan dance with Proc, kind of what it was like, Chucky come back and, like in a doll or something like that. But the hook of watching that was so good. She sat and watched it. Same thing with the black phone. At the crux
Oh.
of it, it had to be something that she could identify with, a doll that supposedly you're so attached to that you don't realize it's a danger
Well,
or
and also those are 2 horror films. So the long form storytelling and suspense and anticipation and anxiety from horror films appeal. I think a lot of women like horror film. My wife loves watching horror stories. She likes being scared, and so there might be
Terrifying.
room there for the long form story. Who knows?
yeah, it's just you have to get the crux of what it is that they're interested in. Like with the Minecraft movie, with the meme generation, it's like you got to string stuff together
Yeah.
to get them to identify with it, to sit in a theater for, 90 minutes and not throw popcorn at the screen. Okay, we don't want to do that. And Mama Lugo with the with the hit here, and then you hit your 70s and your attention span is shorter than a gnat's.
So
Good
baby
one.
boomers and Gen Alpha make natural allies now.
Mhm. I don't know what was going on. I don't either. Well, what I do like going on is there are over 130 of you watching between YouTube and between X, so I sure do
Awesome.
appreciate it. We've got Erica, we've got author Douglas A. Burton with us, and we are going on to the main topic of speaking of horror films, and this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. And folks, to all those who were just like, this movie is not gonna make its money back, that it could have been made for 50 million instead of 90 million. And I'm like, nah, looking at the movie, trust me, they got away with 90 million. Coming from the Heat Vision blog, Box Office Sinners sinks teeth into huge 45.7 million. Revenge of the Sith, which is a movie that's like, 25 years old, edges past The Accountant 2. Just edges
love that.
past The Accountant, because that's actually a original IP. I just saw the original Accountant not too long ago, and it was pretty cool. Ryan Coogler's rule-defying Sinners boasts the smallest second weekend drop for any film north of 40 million since 2009's Avatar.
What? I
And
didn't
the
know that.
smallest-
That's incredible.
Yes. Yeah.
It's R-rated too. That's almost impossible.
It's an R-rated film. The fact that it's like an Avatar territory, and we all know just how much money. Well, I didn't really like the original Avatar. I had my issues with that, but visually it was absolutely stunning.
It was stunning.
But this film, and Erica, I don't think you've seen it. I don't think you've seen it yet.
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah.
You haven't seen Sinners yet, Erica?
No, I get.
Is it out? Is it in Germany?
Actually, I don't even know. It might be on base. I'm sure it is. If it's doing that well in the States, they're pretty good about bringing all the movies out here. It's just we get them a little later sometimes than you guys.
Mhm.
Or they'll get them on the economy and then we get them later on base. So it's like, but I'm funny about thrillers and horror flicks. They terrify me. I easily scare and I get nightmares and I don't. Nope.
Yeah, we
Don't
did
really do it.
talk. Yeah, we did talk about that, like alternatives, like Eve's Bayou is good.
Yeah.
Devil in
Mhm.
a Blue Dress, that's another one that's kind of the same vein with Sinners, except not as graphic. It's more psychological thriller, but the setting is still the same. You've got like the 1930s, in the Mississippi
Mhm.
Delta with a lot of Southern Gothic and mysticism along with Christianity going
Mhm.
on. So I'll say this because Doug saw the movie and he was just like, "When are you talking about this movie?" I'm like, "We talked about it last week, but let's talk about it again this week, considering how much this movie has made in its second week."
Well, and Lorena, I didn't know that there was some sort of a debate about what they should have spent to make this film because 90 million is low. That is a low amount. That is so I'm surprised somebody would argue that this should have been filmed for 50 because you don't make you don't this movie's it would be weird if they only made it for 50 million. That sounds awfully low. 90 is pretty low. And by the way, this looks super crisp on screen. So I'm glad they spent their 90 million because this was a polished gem and it was beautiful to look at. It was beautiful to listen to. So that 90 million went very far. They were brilliant how they spent that 90 million. Saying that that is a flaw is kind of insane when I hear you say it.
Yeah, it was just some folks out there were kind of saying that could have been made for 50 million. It's not going to make its money back, and some people were more skeptical, more so than others. You also had some that kind of had this, I will say, have this edge of rooting for this film to fail, for lack of a better term. And people had asked me, they were like, "Well, what do you think?" I said, It was worth the 90,000 that they got, considering how well it was shot.
Yes.
The score, you have a Ludwig Göransson score, you have a Ruth E. Carter. For folks who don't know, Ruth Carter has won several Oscars for her costuming work. I said, okay, that's worth the 10, 20 million, whatever, having her do your costuming for everything, because all of it was period accurate.
Yes.
And yeah,
This is going to win several Academy Awards in Best Costume Design. I wrote down all the ones I think it's at least going to get nominated, if not win several. And Best Costume Design is going to be one of those.
absolutely. Which is
Sorry, I
funny.
didn't mean to
I thought
interrupt.
one of the, oh no, because this brings what I found in Variety, which I think this is really funny because Variety was the first one to come out and basically say, we don't really think it's gonna make a lot of money. And they really stepped in it, because people like myself, we were saying, you know what, you guys were talking about just how great Snow White was making money when it wasn't.
It wasn't.
But this original movie comes out and you got a problem with it. It's not a good look. So now it looks like Variety is eating crow here. Ryan Coogler's Sinners is the first Oscar movie of 2025. And that's what you were talking about, Doug.
Yeah. So I wrote down this is going to get nominated for Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Sound Design, Sound Editing, Best Director, Best Picture. Michael B. Jordan will probably get nominated for Best Actor. He plays two roles, which I didn't even know until I sat down. My wife said something. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, Michael B. Jordan plays himself twice as two twin. I was like, what? I didn't know that. So, and by the way, you forget, because usually it kind of sticks with you. It breaks the illusion sometimes when a well-known actor is playing themselves twice. This gets buried immediately because you're so invested in the story. You forget that it's the same actor playing two roles. So he could get nominated. help me with how you pronounce her name. Is it Wunmi Mosaku?
I am not familiar with her name.
She
That
was in
sounds about
Deadpool.
right.
Anyway, she was excellent in this as Best Supporting Actress, Best Original Screenplay, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Original Score. The music in this is it's gotten into my head. I'm like I've listened to the soundtrack multiple times, and I think the new category, Best Casting, this is going to get nominated for that as well. The cast in this movie is almost perfect.
Yeah, the lead character, I think was it Miles Canton, I believe. I'm sorry if I got his name wrong. Yeah, Miles Canton. He plays Preacher Boy.
He was amazing.
He was so amazing, and I think that's part of how they saved on the budget, yet did it in a really, really good way. That they picked out an unknown that had a ton of talent, and he held his own up against, Michael B. Jordan. I'm like, wow, who is this young man?
He's a newcomer, and Delroy Lindo was absolutely outstanding.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely.
He so was. Let's see, was Miles? Yeah, that's Miles Canton right there. He was in Sinners.
He was great. He was so likable. And, in a way, we watch the movie in a sense through his eyes. They say a lot of times when you're writing stories, you're trying to watch it through the eyes of an innocent. And that's a good perspective to ground your story in. And he kind of serves that role for the audience in this. And he is just spectacular. And his voice, man, I love when films do this, because you can only do this with film. When that actor or actress starts singing for the first time, and it's unmistakably brilliant, and you can hear it. You can't hide it. And he's got that. He's got that talent, and it bursts out when he starts singing. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
What were the criticisms what was the doubt that people thought that this movie wasn't going to do well?
How can I put this? You have people out in the pop culture sphere. One, you have the skeptics. The last movie didn't do so well, Wakanda Forever. So, and we really doubt if Ryan Coogler is going to be able to pull this off.
Yeah, he had a lot against him with that film without Chadwick. So anyway, it's hard to blame him for that movie,
Yeah, I'm of the mind that was a movie that did not need to be rushed and should not have come out when it did. So that was my whole thing with Wakanda Forever. Not necessarily him, but just the fact that Disney seemed to be pushing to get that out. So you had some folks who kind of doubted him about that. Then you have the small percentage of people who, whenever there is a script that is, or we'll say a movie that's a predominantly broadcast independent IP, immediately some people start throwing around the terms of it's woke, it's this, there's only, evil white people. And then it's like, well, the white people that are in this movie that were inherently evil were the KKK. So that made sense given, the time period, but that does not make it work.
Yeah.
Yes. Actual to the point where, oh my gosh, the head vampire basically said, yeah, I co-opted a couple of them. So I
find that dumb.
On.
I watched the trailer and I didn't get any of those vibes at all.
Well, there's such a backlash. The woke, Hollywood kind of messed up. They really did take a hard stand, and they did all these. They told a lot of bad stories. They ruined franchises over, Doctor Who and Star Trek and Star Wars, and so fans have been so turned off by it. However, I love storytelling. I love great movies, and so for me, it's like the same drive that made me say, "Look, the DEI-driven storytelling is bad storytelling." Is the same drive that says, "But you got to give each story its own chance." Because if it's good, you need to be able to recognize the merits of a great film. Otherwise, you're just as bad as the DEI crowd if you're not willing to recognize quality when it emerges. This movie is loaded with quality. So if you're missing it, then you're part of the problem in this case. I'm sorry to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, that I guess that was my next thing was I guess people just kind of lump Hollywood like that instead of watching each trailer as a separate individual project on its own, well, is it going to stand on its own? So watch it in that lens,
Right.
and I guess I naturally do that, but that's why I was wondering like why are there critics? But not everyone
Well, we're in like the age of
everyone thinks
boycotts,
not
right?
not everyone thinks like us either, so
Right. And I can understand the average fan being like, oh, I don't trust Hollywood. I don't trust. I understand that. But listen to what people are saying. There's when there's real buzz like this, we're not all tricking you, So,
yeah, the
you
bait and
can always
switch, and they
tell.
have been notorious for that.
Yeah. And you can tell sometimes the quote woke storytelling because the headlines are about representation, inclusion. That's not what people are talking about. People are talking about the storytelling, the soundtrack. Like there's so many layers of excellence in this. So when people can be specific like that, that's always a good sign that this is going to be for everybody.
Yeah. No, that's her.
Yes.
That's her.
She was fantastic in this.
She was awesome in this film. There is, and the other thing that I want to point out before I let Doug go completely ham on exactly what he loved about this film. This film was historically accurate, very historically accurate. My grandfather grew up in the Jim Crow South during that period of time. So the way that people spoke, the way that people acted, completely made sense to me. It didn't seem, out of place. The setting was completely correct, down to the Chinese grocer, because in that particular area they weren't really seen as, they didn't really hang around with white society that much. They were the intermediaries, I would say, between white and black. So, if you were black, you knew you could go into a Chinese restaurant or Chinese store and not get harassed, that you could just freely congregate over there. And the Chinese were kind of like the mediaries between the two. So there is this scene that's shot in the film that does not hit you over the head with the society of the times, but visually showed you what would happen. And yes, this is a mild spoiler because I'd really like Doug's opinion on this. So they start out in the one store where I think it was a Smoke. No, I think it was Smoke. He was like, yeah, I need catfish dinners. I need a new sign for this, this juke joint. And they're, haggling on the price. He said, yeah, my wife can do it. So it's like, okay. So he sends the little girl, Grace, to go get her mother. And I'm like, well, why doesn't he just walk over there? I'm like, oh, okay. So you see the little girl, she leaves there. She goes across the street and you notice that it's all white people across the street. And then she goes into the store to get her mom and she's there and all the clientele is white. And then you see Grace leave and go back to the other side of the street, which is all black businesses. Right. And I'm like, that whole shot, no. In addition, not only was it gorgeous, but it laid out very plainly without prejudice or anything, the setting of the times.
Right. Yeah. So the things that people think are woke, the bad vampires they start as white people. That changes though. There's lines of dialogue dedicated to addressing racism and in particular lynching, and it's an all black cast almost, and it's a black director. So I think people are just getting focused on the wrong things there, because I'll tell you, having seen this, and I do not like woke storytelling because it prioritizes the wrong things when it's telling a story. This is what we've been asking for. This is a story that is diverse and it demonstrates black genius and black excellence and great storytelling. This is what everyone says they want. So none of the things that were in this bothered me. So when they even had lines of dialogue that were dedicated to addressing certain racism, it wasn't like weaponized history. it felt like a legitimate conversation that would have taken place at the time. And it was actually a pretty poignant part in the film. The white vampires wasn't a big deal either, because the character motivations actually wasn't racist. It was, they were vampires. They were trying to spread their own vampirism. So there ends up being black vampires, and they care about being vampires. So that was kind of a misnomer. And secondly, and this is the biggest and most important part, the story does not suffer one iota from any of these issues. In fact, they're part of the story. So you will be completely invested in these characters, completely invested in the setting, and completely invested in this conflict. So when you have a story that's as good as this and has all these other layers that are all working, none of that stuff is going to bother you. And it shouldn't, because you're watching a great story. And that's what Sinners is. It's a great story, and it's new. It's original. You've never seen anything like this movie. I mean, Lorena, can you think of any other movie you've seen that reminds you of Sinners?
Somebody said From Dusk Till Dawn, but I didn't finish watching that movie. So I could see from the beginning of that film how it would fit. But I've never seen anything like this in a Southern setting in the time period in which it was given. No, I never have. And the vampire story, honestly, that comes in last, because you're invested. Who are these two guys who come, I think they were working for Al Capone up in Chicago. They roll into town, they have all of this money, and they buy, this juke joint. And juke joints are notorious. They're like Southern speakeasies, notorious for places where, self-respecting people, especially self-respecting church people, did not go to. Because I remember seeing The Color Purple, and they were putting together a juke joint, and I asked my mom, I was like, what's a juke joint? She's like, proper people don't go there. Like, you did not go there. And they actually talk about that in the film. Preacher boy's father tells him, you go down there looking for the devil, might come back, with you. I'm paraphrasing.
I follow you home.
Yeah. So you see that struggle that's going on there. With the class division, it's like the people who are in church. And it's interesting because in the beginning, when Preacher Boy shows up, and you're just like, what the heck did he go through? And all the congregation is in white. It's interesting because in Yoruba tradition, where you get roots, where you get voodoo, where you get Santeria from, white is actually for mourning.
Oh.
And I didn't catch that.
Okay, that makes another scene make sense then.
Yeah, exactly. And it didn't hit me until that second scene showed up, and then I saw the picture. I'm like, oh wait, they're all in white. But no, never seen anything like this movie. You are invested in what's going on with the two brothers, especially their story, how they got their money, what they're trying to do. With Preacher Boy, all he wants to do is he wants to play music. He wants to be himself. And even the song that he sings in the car, you can hear where he's like, I want to please my father, but I want to do what I want to do. And that's why that song is just so heartbreaking. So you get sucked in. You care about who the characters are. Number one, the question of why should I keep watching is answered. You keep watching because you want to know what happens to all these people. What happens when they finally get this juke joint up and running? What's really gonna go on? And why is there some guy running from the Choctaws with the skin on fire? I mean, things like that no matter what you are, no matter what you look like, you're invested in these characters. And that's what good entertainment is about. This is not some warmed over IP. It's something completely new. You just want to watch it because it looks good. You want to watch it because it's like, I got to find out what happens. I have to find out if Preacher Boy puts down the guitar or not, because that's what his father says right in, when it opens the movie up. And I'm like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I'm like, is he going to stab him with the with the guitar. I don't know, but that's the question. We don't know, but we care enough to want to find out.
That's right. That's right. We do care. And so here's the other thing that I've learned, because I have been frustrated with messaging in stories. Not the kind of messaging. All stories have messages. All stories have themes. And these are usually organic byproducts of the conflict and the characters in the story. And one of my biggest problems early on, I'm talking like 2013, 2014, with films that started to really get heavy-handed with the messaging or the woke or the DEI messaging, was that they cared about that more than the story. They cared about that more than getting the details right. They cared more about that. They basically placed that as the supreme value in the story. So one easy thing the reason all these movies fail is because all the other details that matter start to founder. So that's why people watch and go, oh, what about that? What about this? How'd that guy get there? Because they make all these mistakes, because they put the wrong value at the top. It's okay to have diversity. It's okay to have messages of equality. It's okay to have inclusive cast. It's okay to do that. It just shouldn't be the number one priority. That's my thing. When you have a movie like this, you could tell it's not woke because there's so much attention to detail. And that's not a woke film. Woke does not pay attention to details like this. There's a love of music in this. There's even Irish music in this. And it is good. Like, this movie has given me like a real kick to go and listen to new music now. I've got a new playlist. I've been listening to the score. So the love of music and the way they use that love of music and the dialogue, like you just said, Lorena, it's part of a character arc. The preacher's son wants to play music at a time when, like the Dirty Dancing thing, like music is against the church, right? So, there's that instant conflict, and they don't even demonize the preacher father. They're not making him out to be the stuffy old dad. He's actually a very poignant character in the film, and he stands out immediately in that opening scene, because it's pretty horrifying when he comes into the church and he's bloody and you don't know what's going to happen. The preacher doesn't look scared at all and hugs him, and you're like, oh, something's going to happen to this guy. The complete lack of fear from the preacher was actually stunning. It made his character kind of elevated. So I even liked the dad, the preacher father, as a character. He had his own space. So there's so much attention to detail in even the side character. In fact, all the side characters in this are interesting, and they have tons. And I didn't know, and it's historically accurate. So I'll just say this too. And I think, Lorena, you were getting to this, or you had alluded to this already. Structurally, this film is different. It kind of plays, for the first half, like a historical drama, like a period piece drama. They really bring you into 1932 Mississippi in the Deep South, and it's kind of a rural setting. You hear the crickets everywhere, the tree lines and the dusk, and the settings are like, you are sucked into this world. So, and they really spend time developing all the characters, not just the main characters. Michael B. Jordan's performance is actually excellent. It's actually so good, since he's playing two roles, that it's funny. I don't even hear people talking about it enough as he should. I think people will catch up to that, but his performance is excellent. And he chews up the scenery, because his character, and this isn't even a spoiler, but his character's background is these guys got somehow wrapped up in Chicago gangster land for Al Capone. So these guys were in it, in Yankee land, Chicago, and they were they were with the machine guns. They were running and gunning with Al Capone, and they took their winnings, and they decided to call it quits and come back to the home, to the old South. And with this money, with their riches, they're going to build this juke joint. So these guys, wherever they go, they're packing heat. They just emanate with danger. You don't know with these guys what they're going to do. Are they going to pull out their pistol? They feel like they can pull a trump card on anybody at any time in this small town. So they instantly add compelling conflict wherever they go, because you just don't know what they're going to do. And then every character they meet is developed. That is not woke. That is great storytelling. This is what you want. And they take their time with it, with the world building and with the characterization. The second half of the film is where they really shift into the horror genre. and it's pretty intense stuff. And it doesn't. That part might remind me a little bit of From Dusk Till Dawn, but it's really intense and it's very unique the way it's told. So, I mean, Lorena, would you agree? It's kind of like a period drama and then a horror film, like a two-step kind of thing.
Yeah, I would agree. It's very Southern Gothic, mystical drama of the times. What's going to happen? Is Smoke and Stack, are they going to be able to make this juke joint, a success? Is Preacher Boy going to not going to make the right decision and not be there? And just with the whole historical setting, you're right. There's a lot of drama. The characters that are introduced, especially Haley Stanfield's character when she's introduced, and her part, in that particular society, because I had ancestors that were like that. They were mixed race. Some people thought that they were white. They experienced in a white society. Some of them did not. And if they go to certain Black establishments, they're just like, we don't want any trouble because, you're a white person here. And somebody would just say, yeah, I know who they are. And you see that in the film where they're like, no, she's family. She stays, she stays here. So they brought that point out as well. It's kind of like, well, what's the deal with that? What happened with her and with Stack? And why do they have this animosity towards each other? And why is she pissed that he didn't show up at her mother's funeral? And then you find out more about the family ties that are going on. You find out about the one lady who's married but not happily and looking for someone else, so you see all of these drama plot lines going on, and then boom, you have the vampires that show up.
Yeah, they carefully craft the setup, right? Here's all your players, here's the setting, here's the scenario, and then it's like they ring a bell and the vampires come into this situation, and then all hell breaks loose, literally. And I was completely captivated by it. And my wife, it was date night. We actually went on a date to see this. She loved it. She actually started watching all these YouTube videos that were talking about it. She kept sending me reels all day. She's like, Doug, listen to this one. Listen to this one. So this is creating interest also. Like one of the reels she sent me was something you mentioned, Lorena, was, how there was like the Chinese had moved into some of these neighborhoods and they couldn't integrate easily in the white communities. And so they did start to integrate in some of the African-American communities in the South. So I didn't really know that. So, I started learning some things from watching this. And, when I was watching, I was like, man, there's a Chinese person with a really strong Southern draw. And I was like, man, I don't think I've ever heard that. That is unique to me. And
yeah, I thought it was
compelling, right?
Yeah, I thought it was funny because I met Chinese people with really, really thick Southern accents, and that's kind of like the acclimation process that happens. Because from what I understand, after the Civil War, granted there were some Chinese and Spanish Louisiana before the Civil War, but that's an ancestry story I'm actually investigating. But after the Civil War, because slavery is over, slave labor was illegal. You had some plantation owners bring over labor from other countries, Italians, Indians, Chinese. And with the Chinese Exclusion Act, Chinese immigration was outlawed for about 10 years. So you had some Chinese men who actually married Black women. They had children that way. So that's another part of what happened. But also when that got lifted and immigration was allowed to come back, some Chinese who were already established there, like especially New Orleans, because that's like part of commerce. New Orleans and Delta, they went there and then spread out and, developed businesses. But there is a long history of them being there, which is funny because it never made me turn my head when I would run into somebody of Asian descent and they are talking in like a thick Southern drawl accent, because I'm used to that. But I know some people up north, they're like, they went, they're like, oh my gosh, this is Chinese, but this is thick, like, Bubba sounding accent.
Yeah.
from Mississippi. But I'm like, yeah, that is actually true. You can go and look that up. And I really have to give Michael B. Jordan credit for doing that, because that's diversity, but it's not forced diversity. It is accuracy.
Correct. That's right. And that's what you want. There's, I've always said it. I'm like, you can tell stories that deal, and this really doesn't focus on the controversial stuff. It's in the periphery in some ways. And you could do that, and you should do that. You just have to do all the rest. You have to care about the rest of the story just as much. And that's one of the problems we've had out of Hollywood. They stopped caring about everything else, and they just got stuck on this one gear. Well, this doesn't do that. I was listening to one guy from I think it was Instagram, and he was talking about how even the Irish who are featured in this, because there's some great Irish music in this. There's a few things here and there, but the Irish were persecuted a lot when they came to the United States. There was places that the Irish weren't allowed in up north, and they were really tough on them. They would conscript them and send that in the North. The Union would conscript them and send them off to the Civil War, right into the front lines, right when they got here. So, it was interesting seeing this. And I believe the gentleman who was talking about this interesting tie-in with the Irish said that Mr. Coogler actually likes Irish music, that he's kind of a fan of it. So he included it in here. So, and it comes across with love. There's a love of the music in this.
Yeah, it's I don't want to call it pedestrian music. We'll say music from the people, because that's what the blues is like. Jazz is more, again, like Creole. It's more like upper crust type of thing. That's why you saw jazz played in like these big, fancy, flashy clubs. And the blues, you're just out there on the dock, just playing, playing music. So with that kind of like music, that's for the people. When you hear it, it makes absolute perfect sense, because first of all, one of the things that Coogler did in this movie that I love, okay, and Eric will know this, in the really good old school Disney movies, the villain has the best musical number.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what they did. It didn't hit me till somebody brought it up. I'm like, yeah, it makes perfect and total sense. So they're doing this thing, Rocky Road to Dublin, which is freaking amazing.
It's
the choreography, how it sounds, and you see all of them dancing in unison, which is scary, because you've got everyone of all different, ethnicities. They're all dancing the same.
That was a great scene, by the way. Yeah.
And
I'll tell you, I'll read something I wanted to share with you. I wrote a review for Cameron's Patreon about the music. You're talking about the different the context of the different music. And this is real quick. It'll take a second, but I wrote, perhaps in the age of AI, where artificiality has smothered art and culture, where the value of an image on screen has plummeted, where fantastical scenery is somehow cheap, the sound of a raw blues riff or the sudden burst of a human voice singing in an unstructured melody from the heart became such a valuable commodity. Music is everywhere in this film, and I didn't realize how much I just needed to hear and feel and see something authentic and pure. And I think that's something that this film brought back at a time when we needed it. The timing is right. The AI age, everything looks weird and sounds weird. And this was just like pure music, for the sake of music. And it was perfect.
Yeah, it was absolutely perfect. And at the same time, where you had the chaos of that's chaos, but how the social order was, where everyone, was being discriminated against. And of course, the head vampire, who's Irish, is just like, you know what? He said, you just come with us. Become vampires with us, and we'll all be one happy family. And it's just like, dang, what do I do? Become a vampire or deal with this other mess that's over there? But the way that he lays that case out, and he tells Smoke, yeah, I bet some of the KKK buddies, I know exactly what they're planning. They're planning to come here in the morning and kill all of y'all. And he's being very direct and upfront, nothing passive about it. He's like, look, you're going to come with us, you'd be much better off. It's like, oh, really? And then every vampire, they're just like, yeah, you need to come over here.
It was a very friendly. It was a very like sincere sales pitch. It was like, hey, we don't have to be enemies here. We can all be on the same side. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. He's not just he's not just coming out right with like the fear tactics. There was like even when he's hey, we hear there's a banging party going on. There was a spirit of community that he was trying to sell. Of course, it was for nefarious purposes, but there was a sincere effort to swing. Come on over to our side of the.
I just want to hear good music, and the social order was like, okay, we don't know you. And your wife will just show up out of nowhere. Something's not quite right. But he's like, I just wanted some good music. Can't we just all be family for one night?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that dialogue was just amazing. Let's see. Two Penny Puppet. I want to answer this. Hey, Lorena. How you doing? Good seeing ya. At the end of Sinners, when Smoke took on the Klan, what was the significance of him pulling the juju necklace off his neck as he was about to fight? I think the significance of that is that he didn't want to be protected anymore. You remember with Smoke, he was really, really mourning the death of his baby daughter.
Yeah, I think the significance was that he's ready to go to heaven to see his baby daughter.
That's exactly what it is, because it kept protecting him. Like, when he was fighting with, his brother Stack, he couldn't get to him. Neither could, the head vampire. Every time they tried to approach him, he couldn't get to him because he was protected. But yeah, by that time he knew the Klan was coming for him in the morning. That's why you had all the Rambo shots. Yes, it was straight out of Tommy gun, stuff buried where he could just pull up and just rip it out of the ground. I mean, that was it. But he was ready to go. And when you saw his wife and she was like all in white and the baby was all in white, I'm like, yeah. So that's why. That's why he
I got emotional on two different parts of the film, and I'm not expecting to get emotional in a horror flick, if ever. There were two scenes that actually hit me pretty hard. One was that scene you're describing right there, the final scene, because you get invested in these characters and their subplots, and they did set it up. So there's a payoff, and that is a hallmark of good writing, a good setup and a good payoff. And there's another scene. I don't know if I should talk about it because it would be a spoiler territory. So I don't know how you feel about that, Lorena. I didn't know.
I'm kind of like, well, y'all need to go out and see it, but I
can try to give an abbreviated version. Do you know this? You might even know the scene I'm talking about. It's such an artistically done, I thought, brilliant scene that was put into this movie. It's a long single take as the camera moves through the juke joint and is like panning around.
Oh yeah, we talked about that on the show. Yeah. Go ahead. I've been talking about that.
Okay, so there is a scene. At first, it was jarring because I was like, "Wait, what's going on? Why is that person there?" It was a jarring scene at first, and then once I understood what the director was doing with the scene, with the camera, in a way that only cinema can do. Only a movie can do this effect. I would describe this scene as the sacred fire of African music and dance. That's what this is. And for those who don't know, I've been focusing. I've been writing about what I call the sacred fire in storytelling. And the sacred fire is something where the character has a link to their native culture. And this is an essential link, because what came before you is part of your identity, and it's part of, and you have to do something with this part of your identity as an individual. So there's a dual role, the individual goal, and then the goal of the native culture, and that native culture cares about continuity. So when we're talking about sacred fire archetypes, we're talking about something that's continuous, that's flowing through your characters and this story. And this scene is brilliant. They start talking about, and I believe, and I am guessing here, the person is talking about African lore. And what they say essentially is that you are part of the past and the future. That's sacred fire language right there, the continuity of something. And he's talking about the past and the future of African dance and song. And then as he's describing this, it's like a shaman type of monologue. The camera starts moving through the juke joint. And by the way, if you do not want this to be spoiled, walk away and go grab a drink and come back in about 3 minutes if you don't want this to be spoiled. I just want to give everyone the chance to experience this because it is an astounding scene, and I had an emotional reaction to it. If you want to hear about it, stick around. If not, take the break right now. I just want to give everyone that warning. So anyway, the camera starts to move through the juke joint to the individuals, and suddenly you see a few native African dancers, like from Africa, in the white paint and the headdress, and they're doing an African dance, a tribal dance in the juke joint, like they were there the whole time. And it's the first time we see them. And then they pan around and you see literally, and this is the part that jarred me at first. It was someone dressed almost like in the 1980s, a hip hop artist, dancing and doing hip hop. And it started to incorporate all the different elements of African song and dance, all the way back from the beginning, all the way into the future. And you see them all there together in this juke joint, dancing to this music on a single take from the camera. It was such an ingenious shot. Once I understood the scene, I had an emotional reaction. I was like, holy cow, what a scene. That's not woke, folks. Like woke could never conceive of a scene so brilliant as this. So anyway, that's one I knew before, but this is when it drove it home that this film is actually brilliant. There's brilliance in this film. So anyway, I had to share that because I got emotional there, and I also got an emotional reaction at the end of the film as well. So Sinners is not just it's not just another horror flick. It's definitely not some DEI movie. This is and will be a great movie for time. And I do believe it's an Oscar winner for scenes like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's when I saw the shot, like getting set up. I'm like, is he going to do that? And sure enough, it is hard to pull off when it's one long, continuous shot. And yes, it's like they'd show like the musicians like from the past, the ones from the future. You'd see like rap artists. They had, people there with the DJ turntables. You had like a futuristic guitar player. But some of the other things that you started to see as they moved between each person in the crowd, they also started showing their ancestral links to music. You saw like the Choctaw shaman that were there. You saw like Chinese dancers that were there. So it was interesting how they went by all these different ones, but then at the end, all of it just like merged together, like how music, not culture appropriation, that's BS, things that different cultures borrow from each other and make iterations of it. So it's like music is one continuous spectrum. And I think that's what Ryan Coogler was doing with this shot, how fluid and how continuous it was. And that at the end, it's like the whole place had burned down, but the people were still dancing in it. And the head vampire sees it. It's basically like, you have my attention. It was, oh my gosh, it's such an awesome
because
scene.
of the purity of the dancing. And from a storytelling standpoint, the power of that is incredible because now you see the juke joint and all the activity inside of it through this other lens as part of this continuum. That they're not just there and hanging out and dancing, that the reason they're there, the desire to be there, the desire to dance, it all came from something else, and it will continue to be passed on. So it hit. That's a high note for me in terms of storytelling. When you can tell something as nuanced and as layered as that, and deliver something to where the audience is forced to look through this other lens, and you see something and it becomes larger than it was a few minutes before when you were watching the same scene. So to me, that's brilliance. That's a genius level shot that they had in this film.
It is. And folks, if you don't take our word for how good this movie is, listen to Uncle Tom Cruise. Who basically, and I love how he does this. He'll go to movies and he'll say, go see it, and he'll have, his ticket and everything. But Tom Cruise was like, yeah, you got to come out and you got to see this movie. And I just think that this is just amazing, because after he did that, Michael B. Jordan reacted to it, and further down, Michael B. Jordan reacted by sharing the post in his Instagram stories with a mind blown emoji, and nah, this is crazy. So you get to see one of the movie greats, where I would say what we thought was like the last true Hollywood star, so to speak, the ones that are into good cinema for folks to come and see and enjoy, and appreciative of the audience paying attention. This hit, because when this came out on Twitter, people were like, okay, if Tom Cruise says it's good, you got to see it. You have to definitely go and see it.
My wife sent a reel with Kevin Bacon coming out of the theater with his wife and filming and saying, you guys got to go see Sinners, just saw it. So he just did one. Kevin Bacon.
That's awesome. Kiss My Grits says Irish immigrants and culture were very prevalent all over the South in the early 20th century, especially in Savannah and Charleston. I got something actually to say about that that's very interesting. The Irish have been in the Americas since the 1600s. And how I found that out was I took a DNA test and like, why do I have Irish ancestry from that far back? Thing is, they came over here and they assimilated. So by the time, you had the Irish that came over in the 20th century, you had the Irish who'd been here for centuries basically looking down on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what happened. So I thought the Irish only just came over, Ellis Island and all that. They're like, no, they've been over here for several centuries, but had just assimilated so much into American society. They no longer had the accent. Some of them didn't even have the last names. They like modified them,
they changed their
names, changed their names in order to fit in. Kind of like how a lot of my like French and Spanish ancestors, they wound up anglicizing their names once.
It was very common, even
America came to them.
Other white Europeans, Germans, Danish, they would all anglicize for the same. Jews did the same thing. But yeah, the Great Potato Famine is what people think of. There was a big famine, and a ton of Irish came over all at once, and there was a huge American backlash to the Irish.
Mm-hmm. And this was true too, because we're like, why do you see the stereotypical, Irish policeman? I'm like, yeah, what is up with that? But that was why they couldn't have that type of position under British rule. So that was like a real sense of pride that they can go and do that. And that's where you get the stereotype of, the Irish,
the insult,
the Irish cop. Yeah. I know, Arlene, as soon as it came out of my mouth, but I don't feel anything on it. Guy Star says, yes, white people like this movie too. Yeah,
I think all people are going to like this movie. That's what a great story does. It transcends. I don't need to see myself represented on screen to enjoy a film. I can enjoy the film on its merits, and this film has layers and layers of merits to it.
Yeah, it's just something you can go and see. There's, there's romance in here. Very strong language. So do not bring your children to see this darn movie because some of you like sneaking your kids into rated R films. But there's
Right.
lots of romantic tones or themes in this movie, which is why the amount of women going to see this movie has just skyrocketed.
Yeah, there's some romance and there's some next level stuff too.
Yeah.
Beyond romantic banter.
Yeah, it's only for grown people. Okay,
It's for adults. That's
just
right.
saying. It's purely purely for grown people. So, oh my gosh, as usual, time freaking flies on this show. Over 150 of you have been watching between
Awesome.
YouTube and X during the stream. We certainly hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you haven't gotten the memo, you need to go out and see Sinners. You need to put your money where good product is, because there's one thing that Hollywood understands. It's money.
Right.
They said the box office was dying, and yet what kind of movies are making money? Original stuff.
And some of the low budget stuff, like Godzilla -1, someone mentioned earlier.
Oh, yes.
Unbelievable. Warfare, $20 million. That is an unbelievable. It was my favorite movie of the year. And that lasted for about 1 week until I saw Sinners. So I got to see two great films back to back. Warfare was unbelievable. And then Sinners is even better. Unbelievable.
And there's another horror movie I think that's coming out by Blumhouse. It's called Weapons. And
Ooh, I haven't heard of that.
basically let's put it this way. When Jordan Peele couldn't get the rights to the film, he fired some of his people because they were supposed to buy the rights to this film. When they didn't get it for him, he fired them. So it's called Weapons, and basically what it is, it's like something out of the 80s. Out of the 80s, the scariest thing winding up like on the back of a milk carton. So supposedly this one night at like 2:17 in the morning, all of the kids from this one teacher walked out into the night and never returned. And they're just like, why?
I see the poster.
They're like, why is it? And the one teacher, she's just like, I don't understand. And people were like blaming her, but yet she starts seeing visions of these kids. It looks insane. I'm like, man, if Jordan Peele fired folks because he didn't get the rights to that, it must be pretty good. So
wow.
It looks original, and I'm real interested in that. So
Lorena, I'll just say there is evidence that the great creative geniuses out there in the world are making a comeback. We are seeing some of these films that are original, that are brilliant. There's been these little sneak peeks of them. Fall Guy, I actually thought was a great movie. Like I said, Godzilla -1, that had someone said $20 million budget. No, it had a $10 million budget. And it was my favorite movie of 2023. So there are hints that the cream is rising to the top again, and we are going to get treated possibly to some really good films again.
Yeah. Dylan says, wait, but why did Jordan want this film? I think the twist on this is crazy because I've seen the trailer, and I'm a mystery junkie, and I just got hooked. And then of course there's like, it's kind of like why movies like The Black Phone and Megan and all that stuff is working. It's going back into that 80s nostalgia where you didn't want to get kidnapped by someone in a white van, and kind of like, how is it with school? You're used to seeing the same kids over and over again. That's that sense of normalcy, of repetition. What happens when that gets disrupted?
Right.
What's really going on? So I'm guessing if Jordan Peele wanted that and he didn't get it, if it was a crap script, he probably wouldn't have thought anything about it. But yeah, so something's up with that. So,
and can I just wanted to apologize to Erica. I apologize for talking so much. I know I can go on. So I'm sorry.
I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really speak to it, but hearing about it is pretty fascinating, especially the artistic side and all the points that you bring out. So when I go well, probably wait till it comes out on video. When I see it, if I see it, I'll know to look for those things because otherwise I don't think I would look at it from that lens just because I'm not, I'm not a writer. I'm not like, I so it's kind of cool to see that kind of be unpacked and gives me more depth, when I go see it.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, everyone gets to experience different movies in their own way, and that's part of what's cool about it,
Yeah, that's a good idea, Arlene. Where DG streams, we just break down horror movies with spoilers for those of us who don't like them. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, I'll do that.
It's
Maybe
less
I should do
scary.
that for The Conjuring.
We don't go to bed with nightmares. Oh, that is nope. No, I will not. No.
Yeah, she doesn't really do the Conjuring, but
Mm-mm.
I love the Conjuring
Ooh, the Conjuring is great.
I love the Conjuring.
The real story was bad enough. Now to go putting it on a screen. No.
Conjuring was good stuff.
Conjuring, Insidious, but yeah, even some of the old school movies like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like I'll tell you, okay, this is when you should probably cover your eyes. This is when you should probably go take a bathroom break and come back, and I'll tell you why that other person went missing because they were stupid and you don't separate, okay? You don't. But that's Erica's like element.
Yeah, because me and Arlene are on the same page.
Arlene's, picking up what you're putting down.
and you're going to hear me say plenty of times, why is it's always Catholics? Like, I don't get that whatsoever. Sam Wolf says, I love the way you guys are breaking this down and pointing out the amazing different cinematic features the director used. However, I don't want her, so I'm not going to watch it. Oh, okay. That's all right. Don't watch horror. Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't. Like one of the reasons that I like horror, of course, is like the Final Girl stage, of course, that like Kamer Pasha talks about, but I'm more into the psychological horror, the haunted house, the things like that. What's going on? More psychological than the slasher films, because the slasher films used to be cool. Like the blood and guts part was kind of like the icing on top, but it was more about the story itself, which is why Nightmare on Elm Street was so scary, because it was more psychological. You fall asleep. If you die in your dream, you die for real.
Yeah.
That type of thing, as opposed to seeing body parts all over the place with the latest Saw movies.
Well, I won't take up too much time on this, but home as battleground is an archetypal design, and horror films, like you're talking about, are loaded with this. And it is psychological because home is supposed to be the safest place. So when it's the most dangerous place, you've really scrambled people's minds and you've got their attention.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And Lorena already knows this about me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, me watching around, having, zombies stalk me and show up in my stream and do stuff like that. Yeah, I fall on that grenade for y'all. Gladly.
That's great.
Well, folks, it has been an awesome stream as always. Thank you guys so much for supporting the Spice Lounge show. We just have fun mixing up here, talking, just having a great time. And as usual, you guys in the audience just give us the best stuff to bounce off of. And another thing I wanted to bring up really, really, really quick. Yeah, no, I love UKMG. There's some people who actually, they had valid reason for pointing this out. I initially questioned the budget when movies like 94 Speed was made for $60 million in today's dollars, Godzilla Minus One for $20 million. I'd question a 90 budget for a horror film as a studio exec. Yeah, and kind of like we said, and you told me about that. You're like, yeah, Stan really corrected. I think because it was a drama with horror film wrapped up into it, I think that's probably why. But I would say that was 90 million. Very, very well spent for real. So, folks, let's go shout out our channels. What we have going on, Erica. What do you have going on, and where can people find you?
Well, you can find us at Erica-Raff and still on that hiatus in a way. I
She's
know.
crashing panels, y'all.
Yeah, I am. I'm a stream crasher. Go stream. I'm stream crashing. There you go. Not stream hopping. But I'm not that weird uninvited vampire. You know, that just shows up.
He gave you permission to come in and enter.
Yes. You can find me here on the Spice Lounge or on Lorena's Resort Recon streams on Saturdays. Usually I'm on Pro once a week when I'm invited. Today I was busy, so I didn't get a chance to, and last week was a crazy week. And T3PO, blah, that's that Park Place Online, and we talk theme parks. Yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me. But if you want, you can check out our channel anyways and look at our old content from Christmas and Halloween, what it looks like here in Germany, particularly in a German village riddled with a lot of military folks and DoD folks.
Wow.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get to Europa Park and Phantasialand in the coming weeks because we're in the spring season. It's travel season for Europeans. The weather is gorgeous. So, and I'm getting that itch to want to go to a theme park. So, yeah. Plus, I told Vash I would get him some B-roll for that park place for some of the European parks out here for them to use.
Europa Park.
And I forgot Sam. We have a Sam Wolf military. You have a Sam Wolf life of military wife. Sorry, the mouthful. We did a podcast weeks ago talking about military spouses and social media. So, and like the groups. So it's going to drop tomorrow. I don't know at what time, but yes. And she put it right there. Our new panel episode is dropping tomorrow. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right, well, folks, you need to subscribe to Erica, her channel. She says, you know, they're on hiatus, but trust me, you need to go look at that perennial recipe. And you also need to see how she decorates for Halloween. I'm like, wow, it's flipping awesome. And yep, Erica's going to be on Sam Wolf's channel. So thank you so very much. Yes, do check out Erica's channel. Check out Sam Wolf's channel too, as well. So Douglas, first of all, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. It's always a pleasure to have you on my channel. Where can folks find you, and what do you have coming up?
Well, thanks for having me on, Lorena. If anyone's interested, I'm a writer, so I love to talk about pop culture, like the pop culture in the film world and TV shows and things like that. But also, I'm going to be starting more and more videos that help other writers plan out their stories, writing tips, all the secrets that helped me transition from an amateur writer to one where it sounds more polished. If you're wondering where to get that polish, I'll share. I literally kept a list of every little thing that I started to do differently. So I have hundreds of tips that I could share and will be happy to share. And also how you can structure your stories thematically to help you break out of the monotony of just coming up with the next chapter kind of problem. So Douglas A. Burton, come over, sub, and listen in.
All right. Well, folks, as for myself, I always got to ask what day it is. It's Tuesday. Okay, tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. on Fatal J's channel, it is the Dark Council show where we've got Mark with the C. We have got Majidai. We have got Abu Nas. We have got Fatal J, Drunk 3PO if he's not too busy to drop in. Hopefully Lord Callis as well. But what we are going to be talking about is sinners, because the final word has not been said until the Dark Council has had their say about it.
True.
Yes,
very true.
So
I love the Dark Council. It's always so late.
I know. Man, trying to keep all them guys in line. Lord have mercy, my child. I'm like, wrap it up. But it's fun. It's fun. I tell people if you love how I talk on my show, all those guys together, they are awesome, and they're basically partly responsible for me being on YouTube as well. So definitely, please do go and watch that show tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. on Fatal J's channel. I'll make sure to put that out on all my socials so you guys do not forget about it. They're as laid back as I am, less censored than I am, but that's how they are. That's how they are. And I'm glad you enjoyed it, Arlene. Let's see. That's Wednesday. Nothing for me on Thursday. Friday, I will have another excuse me, Love and Deep Space Gaming live stream. Going to be going through some myths and also doing some combat with the system so you can laugh and see how many times I get my ass kicked because my cards aren't leveled up high enough. So come on, check that out. And of course, Saturday, 12 noon, Resort Recon podcast. Erica will be with me. Hopefully Ron will be there as well. We may have another person drop in as well. We're talking, of course, Epic Universe, because by Friday, several of us have been to the park multiple times. We're going to keep you informed with what's going on. And of course, video. I can't wait to show some of y'all, if you missed it on the live stream, where we went to the Ministry of Magic via the Metro Blue. Yes.
Wow.
So darn awesome.
You are the expert.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, and we got stuff about eats there as well. So you guys are awesome, absolutely awesome. Thank you so much as always for supporting this show. I so enjoyed doing it. Make sure you subscribe to Erica. Make sure you subscribe to Doug. Make sure you subscribe to me. Hit that like button, and we will see you all next week. Kamer Pasha will be joining us, so you don't want to miss that. Bye.
All right, everyone. Let's tidy things up.
Autobots, start your engines!
Not under the rug.
We'll keep singing without fail, otherwise we'd spoil it.
Ready, Prime. Let's roll.
Hosing down the garbage pail and scrubbing up the toilet. Ooh.
That's all, folks.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.